And let's move right on then. Near, what do you have for us?
Ha 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 ha. I watched Undead Girl Murder Farce.
the
Did you like it, Near?
Do you like the name of it at least?
Yeah. Did you like the name? Because I like the name.
I
That's
don't
why I
like
left
the
it for
name.
you.
I don't like the name. I'm gonna be honest with you. I am not a fan of the name. I think the name is dumb and
And
not
what about
good.
Dead Mount Death Play?
So
You
cool.
love that.
It's true. It's true.
Oh, Jesus.
Um, but yeah. So this is a
Manga? No, novel original.
this is a novel
So
original.
when people say novel, in people who are a little bit newer to the, I guess, general like light novel kind of culture might be asking, what's the difference between a light novel and like a regular novel? Well, it kind of sounds stupid, facetious, but it is the difference. Like it's the thickness, right? A lot of light novels are pretty much just like a very thin, like a general, very standard, like young adult book kind of thickness. But novels, and the most famous of these, I think, in recent history is
is
something
the
like,
Bible.
yeah, Bible, that's the Quran. But the uh, the most famous of these, anime adaptation wise, being I want to say Chokai Senju no Horizon, right? Horizon in the middle of nowhere,
Yeah.
but they are massive, like compared to like the young adult stuff. So it is like how much they've kind of written now, essentially, compared to light novels. So that's what they
Yeah.
mean. Yeah, sorry, please go on.
So this is a Lapin track production.
Oh, okay.
This is like I'm pretty sure this is their first main production on
Really?
anything
I've
that
heard of.
isn't like a short. They've done assisting stuff on a bunch of stuff. They've done a couple like OVAs and shorts.
They apparently
Um,
did Endreed. I don't know what the fuck that is.
Android. I mean, they were
Android.
assisting on Android with
Oh, okay.
Brain Space. Yeah.
Ooh, fuck!
Um,
I remember this. This was not good, I think, right?
yeah.
Yeah,
They've
this was
also
not
helped. They
good.
also helped Mappa with stuff like Sarazanmai
Yeah,
and
Sarazan was good.
Uchitama.
Hmm.
But yes,
I
as far as I'm
definitely.
aware, this is like their first main production on
Yeah.
like an actual show that
Yeah,
isn't like
okay.
2 minutes long.
Yeah.
So
Funny you mentioned that, Near, because I definitely got those types of vibes when I peeped this show.
what
Mhm.
Uchitama or
Stars on my that too.
oh yeah. Yeah, this is a fantasy detective series um set in
It,
19th century Europe, I guess.
is it Europe? I thought it was Japan.
No, it's Europe. So the basic premise is the main character, uh, Tsugaru Shinuchi, um, is a half human, half oni, uh, sort of weird homunculus creature. His backstory is basically that
So
at some
so
point, at some point in history, the Japanese government decided to get rid of all yokai. Um, and in order to do that, they created a bunch of oni like hunters, and to do that, they like spliced like oni DNA with humans, and they made these weird, fucked up like half oni, half people things, and Tsugaru is one of them. And the story starts off with him being sort of a carnival like sideshow attraction where he fights like random yokai that are left over from like this big purge of the
Mhm.
government. And then one day, this lady walks up to him and says, I have a business proposal for you. Um, Kill me, and I will extend your life. And then it's revealed that this woman is a disembodied head in a birdcage. She is what they refer to as the immortal, which is some sort of super rare, legendary yokai that can't die, and the only thing that
Okay.
can kill her is basically what Suguru is, which is like a half Oni, half human.
Oh, okay,
Um,
okay, okay.
and the reason she wants to die is because, she's immortal, but her body has been stolen, basically. Her head got cut off and her body got stolen, and she's basically like, this fucking sucks. I want to die. Um, and instead, Suguru says, how about instead of me killing you, you extend my life, because apparently he's dying because his like Oni blood is killing him or something. But apparently her like immortal cells can extend his life. And he says, instead of killing you, how about we go and find your body? Because apparently the person that took her body is the same person that turned him into a half Oni, half human, against his will. And he basically, wants revenge, right? Um,
Mhm.
so the general story is basically they go from Japan to Europe because they hear that this guy is in Europe. And from there, they start doing detective shenanigans. They do a 1 year time skip. They start working
What?
as sort of like detectives, like adventuring detectives, and it sort of does just mini arcs from there. It's
Mini arcs, right? Not episodic.
yeah, no, it's not episodic.
So
They're
is
like
this so is this a little bit more focused on the mystery aspect, or is it more focused on like kind of a like a journey vibe, like oh seeing the people in their everyday lives,
this is
blah blah
very
blah.
much a detective series. Like this is
Okay, okay, okay.
literally like the first 4 episodes is outside of the first episode, which is just pure setup.
Hmm.
Episodes 2, 3, and 4 are literally like a Sherlock Holmes story, but with vampires. So
Oh, okay. And if you would again, if I apologize, but if you flatter me a little bit, but um is this a or humor me a little bit, but if is this a detective series where most of the steps to solving the stuff is hidden, or is it an actual mystery series where the audience is kind of guided along to potentially solve the mystery alongside the characters?
so I want to say it's a little bit of both.
Okay.
Um, but I'm not sure if that's just because the first like case they do is like really obvious. In terms of
Okay,
like
okay,
in
okay.
terms of like who the culprit is, it's
Yeah.
really obvious, right? Like it's super obvious. But in terms of like the whole uh how done it, that's
Hmm.
very much a detective kind of thing, right? It's very much you know, uh, like they'll go to like the crime scene, because the real detective is uh the girl in the birdcage, right? Like the disembodied head.
Yes.
She's a super brain genius because she's lived for like 900 years apparently. Um, so she's got super brain powers from that or something. I don't know. Um, but yeah, basically it does the whole thing where like they'll go to like the crime scene. She'll be like, yes, I see. Let's let's move on. Um, it doesn't really tell you what exactly she is gleaning like from looking at it, but it does sort of present a lot of that information, and you can kind of connect the dots, but at the end of it, it's like, yeah, this is how this went down, and it's like, oh, okay, I didn't get any of that, but sure. Um,
Right.
like maybe if you're smarter than I am, you could have figured it out. But I do think they do present a lot of the clues, but like the key elements are definitely hidden. Um, so it's a bit of a mix. Um, but yeah,
Okay. Uh, how were just going back a little bit? How are the audio visuals here? I know this is again. You said this was done by Lapin Track. This is sort of the. I mean, they've had a decent amount of experience, but this is their first sort of major work handling sort of the top level production. Obviously, they have at least a couple of subcontractors, right? Obviously,
Yeah.
they have a decent number of subcontractors. Some of them, like Bug Films and so on, and Ganex are obviously working on some other series in the same season. But how did you think they did in terms of audio visuals?
It's pretty good actually.
Okay.
I was pretty impressed. Some of the directing is a bit odd. Some of the
What do you mean by that?
So in the first episode, I mean, I think we saw it like a few podcast episodes back, but there's this weird shot. They do this weird like top-down shot,
Yeah, that shot, that's weird.
where it's like tracking like
Oh yeah, the
the
Hotline Miami
characters.
shot.
Yeah,
Yeah.
like it's like the camera is like literally top down on the characters, but the characters are always like facing like directly up. You know what I mean? So as
They're walking straight, but like the scenery's moving
Yeah, like
around them. It's weird.
the background is sort of rotating to like show them, walking through the alley or whatever. It's very strange. There's also some weird shots where it like just randomly like changes colors for like no discernible reason at all. I don't know if they were trying to do like a JoJo thing, but instead of, shifting the color palette, they just changed the entire color of the scene and just made the screen red. It's a bit weird. But
Neither.
yeah,
They're following the Monogatari. They learn from Monogatari.
not quite.
Not quite.
Not quite. But yeah, in terms of animation and like, the general color palette of everything, it's pretty clean. Um, you know, uh, it's pretty sharp. Like a lot of the lines are very sharp. The eyes are very unique looking, I'd say. Um, yeah, it's quite good. In terms of music, it's got this weird sort of like um almost like jazzy, like funk kind of thing going on. It's a bit odd.
Oh, okay.
It's
It's like the tone is a little bit more.
it's
I
pretty
mean,
light. It's a pretty
okay.
light tone. It's a very it's a pretty comedic show actually. Like a lot of the character interactions are pretty comedic.
Ah, okay.
The main character Tsuguru is very like, he's very aloof, and sort of a witty, like jokester kind of character. He's
Mhm.
one of those characters where it's like, when he has to like fight someone, obviously he'll be serious, but he's still like, you know, um,
Mhm.
he's still like cracking jokes, kind of
Right, right,
character.
right.
He's got sort of this like, I don't really know how to describe it, but like there's this other character, the maid that follows the two around like all over the place. And they're like her and the main character are always sort of like clashing and like giving each other noogies and stuff like that. So it's very like it's almost like I guess like a comedic scene you'd expect to see in like a Helsing or something like that, but it's got that tone sort of throughout it. Um, so yeah, it's pretty light. Um, but yeah, the voice acting is pretty good. The main character Tsuguru is done by um, what is this, Taku Yashiro, who has what has he done recently? I feel like he was kind of familiar sounding, but he's done a lot of like supporting roles, it seems.
Mhm. I
Yeah,
know that most of this is I think Kurosawa Tomoyo, and like obviously in the supporting cast, Shimonohiro, Uchita Maya, Miyano Mamura. I think Reina Kondo, like a decent number of veterans in the supporting cast, but
yeah.
for the main cast, it's mostly I don't want to. Are they newcomers?
Well, Tomoyo
No,
Kurosawa is
yeah.
she's the girl in the cage, like she's the headless,
Okay, okay,
or
okay.
she's like the disembodied head. So she's like, the one that's constantly spouting the
Mhm.
detective stuff, and she's pretty good. She does a sort of this sort of like flippant, sarcastic, witty, kind of holier than thou type of,
Right,
almost
right, right.
almost like an Ojo-sama, but not really, you know.
Mhm.
And it's pretty good. Um, Makoto Koichi does the maid. She like barely talks though. She has like 3 lines per episode. She's very, uh, cold, kind of character, very emotionless. But yeah, a good amount of the talent is, sort of in the supporting cast. And they're pretty good. I mean, it's very like, uh, I don't know. It's kind of one of those weird series where it's like, yeah, they're in Europe and they're all speaking Japanese, and like a few of the characters, like one of the characters is like, "Ah, your French is very good." It's like,
What?
shut up, dude. Like, just shut up. Like, don't even try to pretend. Like, don't do that. Like,
Yeah,
it's
exactly.
just don't do that.
All
Yeah,
right.
as for the like OP and ED, the OP is really generic. It's not very good, I would say.
That's
Um,
unfortunate though.
the ED, however, is quite good. It's got a very calm tone to it. The visuals as well are very like they're sort of this black and white film kind of thing.
Mhm.
It's a pretty nice ED. The overall audio visuals are pretty solid. Um, this was definitely a lot better than I was expecting, right?
Mhm.
Because when you read the plot synopsis for this, right, like the basic,
Oh
the
yeah.
general like setup, it's very like it sounds like really kind of edgy, because
Like we're
it
going into like
has,
Ghostic or some shit.
yeah, it has very like,
Mhm.
oh, the demon killer, and he's half oni, and he's, they call him the cage user, and it's like, you know, you really kind of expect some really super
I mean,
serious
the name
like,
itself too. The
yeah,
Undead Girl Murder
it's
Farce or whatever. Yeah.
it's really just like, you know you'd think, you're getting like a Dead Mount Death Play kind of shit, right, where it's like, yeah,
Yeah,
he's
yeah.
he's the dark necromancer, and
Dark
he's
Necromancer God.
yeah, the dark necromancer god of death, and it's like,
Yeah.
this is very much just kind of um like it's basically two yokai are traveling through Europe,
Mhm.
doing detective cases for a bunch of like European like um
Nobles.
urban legends, basically, right? Because
Okay.
like I said, the first case is literally like a whodunit murder mystery in a mansion, but it's vampires, right? And the
Okay.
mystery is like, how in a mansion full of superhuman vampires, um did a vampire get a stake through the heart and nobody heard it, right? Because like they're vampires, right? How did
Right.
nobody
Exactly.
hear um like somebody getting murdered? Um
Right.
and the mystery is actually quite well done. It's very obvious that the um the author, is either a huge fucking fan of Sherlock Holmes, or, just like murder mysteries in general.
Right.
Um,
Right. Right.
because, he hasn't shown up yet, but Sherlock Holmes is in this series. Apparently,
What?
they
Wait, like the actual like Sherlock Holmes.
yes, he is in this.
What
Apparently
the
he shows up.
what?
He is credited on Mal.
Oh my
They've
god,
they've
what is
made
happening?
they've made mentions of him in like the first few episodes, and so yeah, like this is definitely like a Sherlock Holmes sort of vibe, but it's with, you know uh vampires, and they've made reference to, Arsene Lupin and Phantom of the Opera,
Oh god.
like they're going all in with just like
Yeah. Yeah.
urban
Exactly. All the
legends, and
references. Yeah.
yeah, like just all over it, it's very anime set in, 19th century Europe kind of thing. I'm
Yeah.
pretty sure Frankenstein's monster has shown up in like at the end of one of the episodes. So, they're going all in.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's very light in tone. It's very fun. It's a lot
Mhm.
better than I was expecting it to be. The characters are very entertaining. The character interactions are pretty good. The mystery is like genuinely pretty gripping. At least so far, right? I would definitely recommend this. I think it's pretty good.
Right.
So yeah,
Here, is that
yeah.
because you love Monogatari so much?
I don't know what that has to do
Is
with.
it because you love Dora Nier?
I don't think
Do you
that's-
love Paranoia Agent Nier?
I mean, Paranoia Agent's pretty good.
I don't like Paranoia Agent. Too much talking.
All right. Well, there's a lot of talking in this. It
It's a
is a
lot.
detective series, so
I
they
did
they
like
do
a
they do sit in a room and talk for quite a while. So
I did like a Sakurako-san a lot though. That was fun.
yeah, I
Who
feel
won
like
in a
this.
fight?
I feel like this has a little bit more detectiving going on, and
Yeah.
Why?
less
But
and
you don't
less
like?
less dreamscaping bone zoning.
Hell yeah,
Um,
dude.
so
God, that I remember that fucking series.
You just don't know what it
Anyways,
takes to be a good detective.
yeah.
yeah. Anyways, you want to give us your mouse score and any last words?
So far, I'd give it a solid 8.5. I think
Yeah.
the only like I guess flaws is I feel like some of the action in this series has been kind of unnecessary. Um, it kind of just comes out of nowhere and it's like, yeah, we're fighting now.
She's
Okay,
Mhm.
sure.
but
But,
does she fight Nier?
What the girl in the bird cage?
Hell
No,
yeah. What? Why
she
not?
literally cannot move, dude.
Nier, remember
She
what
is
I
a
said?
disembodied head.
Dio can fight as a
Yeah,
disembodied head.
she is not a vampire. She's not a vampire.
She is also not an immortal
She
vampire who
like
knows Hamon.
her
Yeah.
her only power
She's immortal though.
her only power is that she cannot die and she has a giga brain. Like
What
that's
about
it.
her blood Nier? Remember that whole scene with like, oh, there's a lot of blood. She can't shoot her blood out.
No.
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 She cannot do JoJo powers. Yeah.
She cannot shoot blood out of her neck.
She can't
No.
pull
Can't
out
control
full
people
out.
with them.
She
Yeah.
can't pull out ACDC. Damn, she
No.
sucked. No wonder
Anyways.
no wonder she died so easily. She can't
Yeah.
fight at all.
It's true.
Anyways, thank you very much, Nier, then for
Hold
covering.
on there. Which is better, this or Dead Mount Death Play? What's the series called again? I don't know.
Dead
Dead
Man
Mount
Death
Death
Play.
Play.
And
I
Undead Girl
mean,
Murder Farce.
Yeah, on the Go Modifies, yeah.
they're pretty different series. I personally think I prefer this. The Dead
Yeah,
Mount
I
Death Play
can see,
it was very good.
You said
it was very
you said it
fun.
was pretty good. Yeah.
Yeah. So, but yeah, I
Told you,
kind of
Nier. This is
I kind of
definitely
prefer
up your alley.
it definitely is. I really wasn't expecting it to be, But yeah.
Anyways, thank you, Nier, very much for helping cover Undead Girl Murder Farce. I know it was one of the big names sort of on the
What?
horizon just because
Hold
of
on.
Oh yeah,
how
fun little tidbit of information. The localized name for this is Undead Murder Farce. I don't know why they removed girl.
What?
Because they're
But
not
yeah,
That's
sexist,
so
Nier.
weird.
they
Did
just
she?
took girl out of the
Yeah,
title.
did they identify? Did she identify as a girl in this series?
She does.
Well, then,
She has you know,
She's
yeah.
not of
Nier,
non-binary
how'd
names
you
or
know? She
whatever.
doesn't have a body, right? She could be agent. She could be what is it, genderless for all we know.
That's true, I guess.
That is true. But anyways, thank you, Nier. And I guess with that, we'll again, if you want to watch like a pretty solid mystery series done, done with I guess supernatural elements. Although again, you said it was a pretty light tone, so please do check it out.